Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Hello, this is the Italian Wine Podcast with me, Monty Waldin. Today I'm with Lorenzo Marotti Campi from the Marotti Campi Winery in the Marche.
Hi, Monty.
Hi, nice to meet you. Now listen, tell me a little bit about your estate, the history of it. It was founded in the 1860s, I think.
Yes, it was founded in 1860 by my ancestor at the time. In a moment where the gold of Le Marche was weed, so we had 120 hectares of weed.
Weed?
No, sorry,
marijuana. You're going marijuana. This is the marijuana podcast. There'll be millions of Soms across North America. Absolutely, cracking bottles of champagne.
Weed. Okay. Sorry.
You're never going to sell another bottle in North America again.
No, actually, they liberalized it, so I'm going to sell everything in Colorado.
So that was in the 1860s, and so what were they growing again?
Grain and crops, sunflowers, still sugar beets, lots of crops like most of the farmers in Le Marche. But the first vineyard were planted in 1867, so we've always been producing grapes and selling the grapes for generations. My father is the one who planted most of the vineyards.
He was called, your dad?
Giovanni, my father. He's still alive. Mm-hmm. Today we have 56 hectares of grapes divided between Verdicchio and Lacrima. On top of that, we're renting 15 hectares of Lacrima. So total production, 70 hectares of estate grapes.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what makes Verdicchio such a special white wine grape in the Marche.
Verdicchio is for sure the most known wine from Le Marche. It's a very versatile grape. It can be interpreted in different ways, both in the vineyards and in the winery. That's why you have so many expressions of Verdicchio. It's very interesting. It keeps you always exploring a new expression of this grape, because the area of Verdicchio itself is quite large and it covers different climates and different kind of soil, and also because the grape itself permits you to have early harvest, later harvest. You can be done in sparkling, passito, so it's a very interesting grape itself.
Could you call it like Italy's Riesling?
Well, I do not agree so much on this comparison, because Verdicchio has nowhere the acidity of the Riesling. On the other hand, Verdicchio has a very nice big structure, big body. That's helped Verdicchio in the aging. In fact, it's one of the best aging white that we have in Italy. But I don't think it does age because of the crazy acidity. There are more acidic wine in Italy, but because of the bone structure of the wine itself that helps him in long aging.
So what are typical flavors we'll find in Verdicchio in general and in your Verdicchio in particular?
Well, Verdicchio is not an aromatic grape for sure. So you don't expect from Verdicchio a vertical nose that you have in a Sauvignon or Chardonnay. It tends to be a bit more austere in the early stage of life. You have this broom, field-flowered notes, almond. It's a very elegant nose. You really have to discover the nose slowly in the glass. It's not something that strikes you when Verdicchio is young. On the other hand, Verdicchio relies a lot on the aging potential. So there is a secondary, tertiary aroma of Verdicchio that makes Verdicchio unique. It comes out a lot of minerality, flintstone, acacia honey, some other expression of Verdicchio, especially on Metallic area.
Metallic areas, that's a slightly cooler area, isn't it, away from the
slightly
coast?
Cooler, yes. Same grape, different areas, smaller and cooler towards the mountains. The Verdicchio that I produce is more towards the coast. Morro d'Alba has a typical Mediterranean climate.
So is it a little bit warmer down at the coast, or is it cooler because you get the coolness from the sea at night time?
It is warmer, but it's a bit more windy, so it helps in keeping a healthy grape, and it definitely has a more impact on the full maturation of the grape.
So when you're picking your Verdicchio, what do you look for? Do you want the berries to be green or yellow or orange? How does it work for a dry
doing
wine?
Three Verdicchio, I want them all. I want the green, I want the yellow, I want the orange. I try to differentiate the wines that I make mostly on the picking time. So we start with a very almost early harvest with 4-hour basic Verdicchio.
And what's that one called? Albiano?
Albiano is our entry-level Verdicchio, yes. It's a stainless steel, vinified without oxygen, so it's meant to be a bit more ready, a bit more on the primary aromas than the other two.
What would you drink that with?
Well, Albiano is very good with the aperitif or lusty. It's not a Verdicchio on the full power. It's a Verdicchio that is enjoyable even alone. I find Verdicchio always more a food wine. With the Albiano, we wanted to have something a bit lighter that can be enjoyed in a hot summer season like this season in particular.
Okay, what's the next Verdicchio in the range?
The next is for sure the most typical expression of Verdicchio, which is our Luzano, Verdicchio Superiore. It's a straightforward Verdicchio. Austere when it's young, doesn't have lots of floral notes that may be present in the earlier one. On the contrary, after 1-2 years, it builds up nice minerality. It's very crisp, completely dry, with a nice almond finish, which is very present in the Luzano.
Okay, you mentioned that Verdicchio can make sweet wines as well. You make a passito.
I do make a passito.
So
Verdicchio.
what is a passito and how do you make it?
Passito, we do a particular kind of passito. We do drying on the field. So we cut the cluster, we leave hanging on the vines. We don't do it every year, also because the market of passito is not a huge market. It's not something that we need to produce and have every year. Once in a while, we make a passito. We sell for several years. We do age the passito long. So we've been selling 2007 until last year. Then we skipped several vintages. We are coming out with 2014 this year.
So what do you drink a passito with? Cheese?
Our passito is not extremely sweet. Verdicchio nature is not particularly floral or sweet nature. So we don't want to go too much against the nature of Verdicchio doing a super sweet passito. We leave our passito very much Verdicchio. So about 60-50 gram sugar, but with a nice contrast with the sapidity of the grape and the slightly almond finish, which is still there. So it's not a dessert passito. I like it very much with aged cheese. In particular, in Le Marche, we have formaggio di fossa, which is a cheese that ages in the ground on the leaves.
Is that a white cheese
with
or a blue cheese?
No, it is a white cheese, but an aged one, and pair it with some vegetable marmalade. So
okay, that
very
sounds
nice.
good. Okay, so tell me a little bit about Lacrima di Morro. What is it?
Lacrima, it's a unique grape. It's a grape that was about to go extinct. In 1985, there were 7 hectares left, and then was going to die forever.
Red or white grape?
Red. It's a red grape. It's a red grape grown exclusively in the area of Morro d'Alba village and 4 villages surrounding Morro d'Alba. So the territory of Lacrima is much smaller than Verdicchio, very, very small. We decided to recover the Lacrima along with few producers because it is a truly unique varietals. Every producer loves to say my wine has a strong personality, my wine is unique. With the Lacrima, I don't even need to say that because once you put the Lacrima on the nose, you recognize amongst many. Lacrima is a red grape that, contrary from Verdicchio, has a very strong aromatic nose.
So what flavors would we look for?
Roses, violet, lavender. Those are the primary aromas of the Lacrima, of a clean Lacrima.
And when it ages, what does it turn to?
With the aging, those fresh flowers, they do not become fruits. If only one fruit may be present in the aged Lacrima, which is a blackberry. That's what I find, which is also a balsamic kind of fruit. But mainly they drive into spices, pepper, juniper, some clove, some incense. Those are the spectrum. This is the spectrum of the Lacrima.
What would you drink a Lacrima with?
Lacrima is a lovely combination with all the white meat, oily meat, the greener kind of meat. We eat a lot of pigeon, which is very green, but chicken liver, duck, gamey birds. The Lacrima really bring back the green note to the floral spectrum and making the dish much more elegant and tasty.
And so you say age as well. I mean, how long would it age?
It was not meant to be an aged red wine, but it doesn't age well. Lacrima has a very nice acidity, is extremely rich in anthocyanins, and it ages potentially very well. We still have 2000 vintage Lacrima, 2001, which are in perfectly good shape, and it's very consistent in the aging. I recently opened 15 vintages. None of them was tired or dead. They were all, the acidity kept the wine alive.
Is it an easy grape to grow, the Lacrima?
No, I think it's the most difficult grape in the world. That's why it was about to disappear. It's really a pain, the Lacrima, and it's very expensive too because you have to replant the vineyards constantly because the old Lacrima grapes were planted on a rootstock that proven not to be optimal. So most of the old Lacrima grapes after 20-25 years tend to die. So you have to explant the vineyards and replant a new one, experimenting, hoping that within 20 years you made the best choice in terms of rootstock.
So if you pick it late, is it a very resistant variety if it rains?
Not at all. Lacrima itself means teardrop. That's because Lacrima has a very compact cluster, and so in the maturation tends to burst and release these black tears on the ground. That's the time you have to harvest very quickly. Otherwise, it develops molds, and it's not good for the grape. And it's not very flexible.
Tears for the wine grower too, yeah?
Yeah, correct.
So you mentioned earlier on that you have your own vineyards and you do buy in some grapes.
Occasionally, but just because I produce Lacrima for many other wineries. So those wines, I may occasionally need more wine than what I need for myself. But my bottles are 100% always estate grapes.
So why bother? It rots, it grafts really badly. It's not particularly disease resistant, and it's quite a unique, oddball style of wine.
Masochism, eh?
Masochism.
Yeah, no, I think this decision usually you don't make. You find yourself in an area where there is a specific grape. Like me, I had my estate. We wanted to really produce an added value for the estate, for the area, and we found that the Lacrima, it's true, there is a pain to grow. On the other hand, is a wine which is so unique, and I thought if along with the character of the Lacrima, we managed to make also a good wine, then we have a good wine with a personality, which is something a bit rare in the past years, in recent years, because they all tend to be a bit more homogeneous for the market. So
it's a wine with a big personality.
Yeah.
So what are your main markets for the Lacrima?
US, it's a good market. We are selling in UK too. Japan. I sell small everywhere. From Peru, where I just found that Lacrima is a perfect pairing with a very traditional dish of chicken cooked in leaves, forest leaves, exotic forest leaves, and to New Zealand, everywhere small, because Lacrima is not for sure mass market or high rotation red wine, but it's always a wine that makes sense in a wine list because it's so different that it's complementary to the other red wines.
Yeah, and it's so lovely to have a glass at the end of a meal, isn't it?
The end, at the start, during, so...
Lorenzo Marotti Campi, thanks very much for talking to us today on the Italian Wine Podcast. You are fighting a heroic battle with Lacrima, and you make fantastic...
Especially this vintage, which is like zero production in this vintage.
Which is, this vintage is what, 2017?
17,
right? Well, what's happened in 2017?
Well, the Lacrima itself, it's very inconsistent in terms of quantities. So this vintage, the flowers themselves were very much less than the past vintage. On top of that, the heat and the dry season. So we are harvesting about 40 quintals hectare.
So Lorenzo Marotti Campi, thanks very much for coming in today. It's been fascinating to talk to you, especially hearing about not just your Verdicchio, but also the Lacrima di Morro d'Alba. Beautiful, great variety, and hats off to you for sticking with it and saving a piece of Italian vinous heritage.
Thank you for being in Le Marche. Come back when you want.
I'll come back anytime. Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Follow Italian Wine Podcast on Facebook and Instagram.